Hi everyone, I'm Amir Hassan. I'm the Director of IT Services at TRG, one of the leading BPOs in Pakistan and the world around. And I've been looking after their IT support departments globally and now Pakistan-wide. TRG, as I mentioned, is a BPO company that has multiple portfolios that we service locally and internationally. We have around 29 locations worldwide. We have offices in 6 different countries, starting from the US, Canada, UK, Senegal, Philippines, and Pakistan. And the portfolios that we service are call centers, obviously, which is one of our bigger portfolios. Then we also have some back office work in finance. We also have a wing now in software development, which is probably the second or third largest team now in Pakistan, serving our international needs as well as local needs. And then more recently, we have launched our managed IT services that is now catered to handle the local clients, because we felt that in the past we have been managing around 600 users worldwide through this team. It's got the experience, the expertise, so let's use that. And so we've now going into the local market with this brilliant team. If I talk on a personal side, what my feedback is on the budget, I'm looking at the geopolitical situation that we currently find ourselves in, the quality of governance that has been around for some years now, and the eroding belief in the ultimate accountability. I think we weren't going to be expecting anything brilliant on this side of things. Having said that, I think if you look at the BPO side of things, there hasn't been much change directly. The tax exemption still continues until 2016, but there will definitely be indirect challenges to the business as all, because the inflation continues to increase. There hasn't been taken enough measures to address that promptly. We will also see continuing hike in prices of commodities and the services, so that will indirectly actually affect the cost of operations of organizations as well as TRG. So that is where I think the deep impact will come. It will either erode away the profit margins or will make it very challenging for the managements to actually operate in this kind of environment. As I said, that we are a leading BPO company. We mostly service clients internationally, although we now have local presence as well. There hasn't been any major changes in the direct taxes and on this business, but we continue to evaluate because it's still coming through. So there, as I said, I don't see any direct impact to it, but there will definitely be, as I said, a cost of operations impact that we will have to assess, that we'll have to review and then base our strategies on it. Even for the past year or a couple of years, we have seen that the cost of operations that we used to enjoy probably 4 or 5 years back doesn't exist anymore. So that is again bringing us to the table to review our different processes, review our different strategies in different work areas like IT on the operation side, and then revise then to make sure that we have the most economical model in place. I think we are an IT-enabled organization. Most of our work is done through IT, and in the past the focus was obviously to ensure that we have the most optimum solutions in place, whether it was in-house or it was procured outside. But now what's going to happen is that it's already started, that we are now continuing to review our current platforms. That includes the hardware side of things that we work with, the software, the different licensing mechanism that we have in place, and we are now critically reviewing them to see what now can be done in-house. Because as I mentioned, that we have a good, brilliant software team in-house now, so we are trying to now leverage that team to give us solutions that we were previously procuring from the outside market. So that is one area obviously that we're working heavily to make sure that we reduce cost on licensing, on getting equipments that may be available from an in-house solution. So that's one area. The other area that we are looking are external revenue generation opportunities. As I mentioned, that I have looked after the IT support team over the last few years. I was moved back from Canada, TRG, to set up processes, to set up an IT department back in 2005 when we were newly starting in Karachi. Since then we have come a long way. We now have an excellent team with different expertise catering to 6,000 users worldwide. So what we've decided is that we now have the expertise in-house, we have the people, we have the processes, and we have the platform. So we will now be using this and harnessing this kind of talent to go out and sell these services to the local market, to create some more revenue streams for the company to help us through these periods. There is a significant impact actually to it. As I mentioned earlier, that the budget that we currently have is basically in light of the geopolitical situation that we find ourselves in, and obviously IMF being a driving force behind it. There are going to be impacts all around that you will see. They will be slow to come in. They wouldn't probably be instant changes, but as you may have gone through the details of it, there are several areas that where prices will be hiked, pay for the debt servicing. That will definitely impact the commodities, the raw material that companies do acquire to generate their revenues. In our cases, obviously our manpower is our raw material, and with the inflation is going up with these kind of impacts, that will be an increase in our cost of operations. So that's where I think the impact will come, and it will probably see it in a year or so. Going back to what I've mentioned, the strategy shift that we will be looking towards is probably using IT to create more revenue streams, to probably find out, to spot out leakages, shrinkages that we have had, and try to address them in a more automotive way. For example, in a call center business, obviously a production seat is a revenue generating unit. There is a number of hours or a number of calls that create the revenues for us. Obviously, in a day's time, when the seat is occupied, there are different scenarios that do come across on a daily basis. The system's going down, the agent unable to function because of an IT issue at the back end. So those actually impact the revenues. From an IT side, our strategy will be to make sure to find out all the key areas where we are having some leakages, maybe significant, maybe a moderate level of leakages, and trying to fix that. That could be through a hardware upgradation, that could be through putting in together a new software solution to address those, to ensure that leakages are stopped, and that in turn turns to the revenue spike side. As I mentioned, that there will be impact the business of the budget to it, but the strategy that we have in place is that we'll be reviewing internally on a couple of sites. One is obviously to stop the leakages, that as I've already mentioned. The other will be to looking at the software or the hardware that we are currently using, how much it's costing us to the business, what are the alternatives that we have in place. So those are the two areas that we'll be heavily focusing on. For example, on the telephony side, we use a vendor, Avaya, which again, as we all know, is a known brand internationally. There is obviously a dollar cost to getting those solutions in-house. Our team has already worked on an alternate solution to put together and replace that technology. So that is one area that we are working on the technology side. The other one is obviously looking at the hardware side of things. We have servers, multiple routers, and different kind of equipment that helps in our daily businesses that are branded machines. So we are now trying to find an alternate on how we can best either use those machines to optimize the productivity, or probably seek an alternative solution without compromising on the qualities. So these are the two areas that the teams are currently focused on. So one is on the technology side with the telco side of things. The other one is the hardware solutions that we have in place.